Hello and welcome back to the finishing line, proudly sponsored by Hollywood Bets. I think I got the intro right. Andrew's not here doing all the usual jib and jab, so I'm doing it, and Tom is here too. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Dave. I was just reading your text messages there in the group about me being late. Surprise.
3:30. It's now 3:39, and I have a job to do as well as this.
So do I.
Yeah, you clearly just do your own thing. Andrew is in the studio and he's a bit too busy today, so myself and Tom are going to go through some racing at the weekend. It's not the most inspiring weekend in the world. We had the Guineas last week and the kind of ended the jump season, so it's a bit of a week maybe to lower your stakes if you're having a bet. It would be my suggestion, but there's a few races on that might have some bearing on the Derby and the Oaks and so on and so forth going into the summer. We're going to touch on the Chester Cup, which is always a decent enough spectacle. Some racing, some trials for the Derby and Oaks at Lingfield. Some jumps racing at Haydock. And then we're off to Ascot for one race, the 7 Furlong Victoria Cup, which is always a decent race.
Horrible race. Horrible race.
It's going to be hard for me and Tom today. There's not a lot of betting. There's a lot of entries. It's hard to know what's going to run here, there, and everywhere, but we'll give you some pointers and some selections, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm strong on any naps or next best this week, Tom. Maybe you can find one at Dundalk or something.
No, I'll give my. I do have a good nugget of information, or not information, but something I saw today that most people have missed. So save that until the end. But yeah,
okay.
One useful bit of information anyway. So
well, we look forward to that. So okay, so we're going to go to the Chester Cup on Friday first. And I'll run through some of the horses in it. Maybe not all of them. I will be here till next year. But Falcon Eight, Dermot Wells, Hurdler is in it. I think he won it before. Metier is another one from the jumps is in it. The Grand Bazaar, Reginski, some of these old timers, if you're into flat racing, that tend to run in these cup races a lot. Rashun, Aiden has an interesting horse entered. Cleveland, Arcadian Sunrise, a decent enough jumps horse again, trained by John Queally. Coltrane, Andrew Bowling horse. It's Good to Laugh, Torcello, and then there's another 5 or 6. Tom, where are you looking in this race?
Yeah, look, it's tricky. 5 to 1 the field. You mentioned a good few in there, Dave. Falcon Eight. He won this last year, didn't he? So yeah, he's probably the place to start. He won it off 104. He's up to 109. Look, he would have his chance. He's got 9 stone 12 in his back. He's got top weight. Draw is reasonably okay in 6. He has his chance. That's fair to say. The favourite Solent Getaway, first start for Hugo Palmer. When further Epsom ran a really nice race, has good form at Chester, won here last season, is definitely one to keep on the right side of. The one I'm going to throw into it, though, is definitely Cleveland. I just feel if Aidan O'Brien has held on to this lad for so long, like he was off the track for 506 days, he's then come and made his reappearance back at Nace in a 1 mile 2 listed race, which Lafayette won. Bear Story was third. They franked the form since in group races at the Curragh. So I think the form of that is fairly strong. You can definitely assume that he was having a run around for his fitness that day. He's still not gelded either, and if he's willing to send him over here, stepping him up and trip from 1 mile 2 up to the 2 miles 2, and he goes on soft ground. I think in an open race, I'd take a punt on him at 10 to 1.
Yeah, look, I went through this as well, and I know if Andrew was here, he'd probably concentrate on one of the jumps horses that is in this race. But the draw at Chester is all important. So it's kind of hard. Later on in the season, I do tend to agree with Andrew. The jumpers, the older jumpers, tend to just be a little bit stronger at the finish in these long distance races. I would side for an each way bet with Tom's pick as well. I think it's interesting. He's still a colt. Very lightly raced. He should stay being by Camelot. He's already had a run in race won by Lafayette, so he's kind of had a bob around and should be fit. Aiden's tend to come on for the run. And then the other one is Arcadian Sunrise. The worry with him is he hasn't had a recent run. He's drawn a bit better than Cleveland, but he seemed to be getting better last year as a 7-year-old going on 8-year-old over hurdles and on the flat. He won a pretty decent pot at York last year and then was fairly short in the betting for the November handicap. So I think he's a decent chance, and the race might suit him because if I wouldn't be Jamie Spencer's biggest fan, but this type of horse, when you can cover him up behind a strong pace, he's pretty good on him. And the ride he gave him at York was exactly the same as that. He had him covered up and just kind of kidded him into the race, passing horses. So I think he has a decent shout. So same as Tom, and then Arcadian Sunrise. We will move on. We will do all the flat racing, Tom, and then we'll come back to the two jumps at Haydock. That sound okay? Right, we will go to Lingfield first, the kind of more important races going forward. And the 240 is the Derby Trial, a listed race. We have a Godolphin token horse, Walk of Stars. William Haggis has Lysander. Another Godolphin horse should be running because Jamie Spencer is jocked up. Natural World. Aiden has United Nations entered. Martin Mead had Zechariah entered. And then there's a few outsiders that may or may not run. New London is entered, but he just ran at Chester and he was beaten. So I doubt he will go to the Derby, and he possibly ran like he'd be a St. Ledger horse. And he's related to Mass Marvel, so that's probably the direction he'll go. Tommy, with the favourite or an outsider?
Look, favourite has a chance, doesn't he? Definitely. I'm willing to take him on at that price, though. And the one I'm actually going to take him on with is a stablemate of his that really interesting. That's only happened in the last few hours from when I was looking at this, Dave. Jamie Spencer jocked up on Natural World. Random jockey booking, but I'll take it because it probably means he's running. This lad's by Frankel out of a Dubawi mare who got black type herself. Nice pedigree, definite middle distance pedigree. So I've no problems with him staying. If you go back, his first run, he did it nice. James Doyle dropped his stick on him, and he still stuck his head down. And he beat a much more fancied stablemate in Ottoman Fleet. It was Ottoman Fleet's first run that day as well. He went off 11-8, and Natural World went off 5-1. For me, that suggests that he doesn't show a great deal at home. They were starting him off in a 1 mile free maiden, and he's gone off a much bigger price than his stablemate. So I think this lad could go a bit under the radar. It's a bit like Hurricane Lane last year. Just completely went under the radar because I don't think he showed them worlds of ability at home. I think he's got a nice profile. Charlie Appleby is flying, and he's 6-1 from what I can see. So he would probably be one of my bets of the weekend now, to be honest. Each way, 6-1. I'll take on Aiden's United Nations and Anchorage. And then, I think a few of those won't run. So I think you're going to get well into the single figures of runners here anyway. 6-1 Natural World. I don't think he'd be that price on the day. And quite keen to stay with him.
Okay, good stuff. I like a couple in it. I'm going to steer clear of the favourite. I would mention Martin Mead's horse, Zachariah, they thought he'd run a better race than he did in the Craven, but I don't think going up against Native Trail over a mile was probably going to suit this horse. He's by Nathaniel, and he definitely wants a trip. But the one I'm more interested in, if he runs, is David Monisier's horse, Lionel. Tom, I know you're not into the flat, but you know those pink colours with the white sleeves, and they all just get names like Duncan and Ralph and whatever else. His mother's name is Gretchen. So it's a Normandy stud, and they just tend to give the horses. I think John Gosling has a few horses, and they're named differently, but a lot of these ones that end up being stayers just have one name. His dam is related to Duncan and Samuel, which is, I think, is a bit random with the names.
And Gretchen and Deirdre and Alexander, Romina, Howard.
So, funny kind of name. He was in the same race that the Godolphin horse Tom was talking about. And to me, he was the one to take out of it. Jamie Spencer rode him like he'd a turn of foot, and none of those horses that he was related to have a turn of foot. So he's not going to do anything fast. Distance should suit him. And maybe if he's ridden a little differently, he can run well. And if he runs, he's an each way price now. He's around 10, 12 to 1. So Lionel for me.
Who do you think they were thinking of when they named him? Do you think it was a Lionel Messi or a Lionel Richie? I'm probably leaning towards Lionel Richie, to be honest.
Lionel Richie, I'd say, yeah. I wouldn't say any of those horses are flash enough to be like soccer players. So I'm saying some sort of old style singer or something like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Random name, but there you go. Where are we going? The next race at Lingfield is the Oaks Trial, another listed race. And again, Godolphin have the favourite, Life of Dreams. And then you have a couple of Aidan O'Brien horses, Emily Dickinson, Lily Pond, Rafe Beckett. I think he's had a couple of horses win this race. Luna Dorada, another filly that's only raced once. John Gosling has Belt Buckle. And then it's 10 to 1 bar. Are you a Godolphin favourite in this one, Tom?
Yeah, well, I am and I'm not. I wouldn't be laying her, put it that way. Mightily impressive at Newbury. Discretion, the fourth, has come out and franked that form recently as well. I put it this way, yeah, I wouldn't lay her. Am I going to take her on with something each way? Yes. And the horse I'm going to take her on with is Emily Dickinson. She was mightily impressive last day. She was held up. She just got dropped on the line by Ryan Moore. Look for a long way like she wouldn't run. And if you actually go back and watch her race at Leopardstown the time before that, when she finished 5th, she met awful trouble turning in. And she was very much the one to take out of that. And then she went on to be very, very well backed on her next start. The form of that maiden at Leopardstown has just been franked extremely well at Chester in the Cheshire Oaks. 4th of June won that race. Won the race today, and above the curve was second. They were the reverse way around at Leopardstown, and arguably should have been the reverse way around today as well. I think the best horse was definitely second today. But the form of that looks rock solid. The third came out and won a maiden, and she's learning on the job, this filly. She really is just learning as she goes. She's out that good mare Chiquita, Dave, who has bred another couple of nice fillies and Nicest and Secret Forts. I don't think she'll have any problem with the trip the way she races. And if you knew she was going there, 6 to 1 is an absolute steal, because she's a very good mare.
Yeah, look, I'm the exact same as you. You said it all, really. The form lines was frank today. And then just her breeding. Chiquita was, I think she's a French mare, and Coolmore ended up buying her for breeding purposes. She had a couple of foals. She'll eventually pass on her talent to one of them. This could be the one. It's just about finding the right sire for her. an interesting enough sire because she's by Dubawi, so they sent Chiquita to Dubawi, a Godolphin sire, and she's looks like she didn't get any of the speed from that side. She definitely looked better at 10 furlongs. Started off last year over a mile, and now she's getting 12 furlongs. So I think at 4-1, she's a great each way bet as well. Right, we will go to the Victoria Cup at Ascot. This is one, I could be here till Tuesday going through the runners that are entered because there's exactly 39 of them. I've no betting, and I'm just going to ask Tom to give me 2 that he thinks may run and have a chance, and I will do the same.
Look, this is not my forte at all.
You know what? I'll go first, so.
You go first, yeah.
One that tends to find his level in kind of class 1, class 2 handicaps will pop up every now and again at a big price, and it's usually not fancied in the betting, is This Is Us. He's dropped down the weights a little bit again, came third the last day, ran a decent enough race. He's trained by Richard Hannon, who's been in form. His last 14 days, 10 for 66. So he's had a good couple of winners, a lot of place horses as well. And the last time he won was June last year, and he popped up at 18-1. Time before that, then April last year, 66-1. So he generally runs a decent race in handicaps. Then he gets put up weight. He'll run into a listed race or a Group 3, isn't good enough, drops back down and finds his level again. But he always runs well, and he's worth a little bet, I think, each way. Second one, then, it's hard to know what to expect of Accidental Agent, but he's definitely better than a handicapper. He won the last day, I think it was Newmarket. He was unfancied. George Dobie's on him again, and she rode very well. He just stayed on, hit the front, never looked like getting beat. His top weight here is obviously a former Group 1 winner. There was back class, but if you can get over 10-1 on him, he's an each way bet.
I'll go with my 2, won't I?
Yeah, far away.
Right, my 2 are Isla Kai is the first one. Now, one thing that would worry me there is the stable have had a few placed horses, but they haven't had many winners. But that'll soon change, I'm sure. Massive improver last year from 78. Finished the season on a rating of 99. Won 3 races, including at Ascot. Was second in a decent handicap at York then. Returned at Newbury in another big handicap and was 4th that day. Not beaten far, only beaten a length. Looks like it can still run off that mark. It came on for its first run last season. I presume it'll come on for that as well. So Isla Kai, I think, is about 16-1. That would be my first shout. And my second is I'm going back to the horse who won this last year, which is Riven Nymph. Won it off 100 last year. Is only off 102 now. Has had, how many is it? 4 races at Ascot. 4 races at Ascot and won. Hang on, am I counting wrong now? Yeah, 4 races at Ascot. Has won 2 of them. Now was bombed out in another 2, so do be aware. But this lad, look, can run off his mark. He got absolutely tanked in a listed race at Wolverhampton, but he did the same at Doncaster before he came out and won this. He needs that first run of the season, it looks like. So
yeah, I fancied him last year for the Lincoln, and you and Andrew had the winner, and I was wicked disappointed, and then I didn't back him the next day then.
Yeah. And look, on the opposite of the trainer form, Clive Cox is absolutely flying. 7 out of 23 in the last 14 days, 30% strike rate, and he's had another like 5-6 seconds. So he's in absolutely unbelievable form. And I'd give Riven for shout. He's a big price, 25, something like that. So.
Yeah, he probably is a big price each way, especially his course and distance form. So, right, we're off to Haydock for the Pretense Network long distance handicap hurdle, and then we go through the Swinton handicap hurdle. Again, there's a monumental amount of entries for this. And I know someone will probably say in the comments, why didn't you just wait for tomorrow to do the video? But we can't always ditch work and just make videos on horse racing. So that sometimes isn't available for us. Go through some of the big names, top of the market, top of the weight, Proshima, the big breakaway, Eglantine, the Soy, Party Business, who won well the last day, Honest Vic, who's been a decent enough servant for Henry Daly. You have Dandy Mag, Call Me Lord, old favourites maybe like Pylon and If the Cap Fits. And then down the betting, you've the likes of Neon Moon, who couldn't manage to win a race over fences, and David Pipe seems to be after getting it back going. Hurricane Harvey, Panic Attack, and loads and loads of others. Tom, do you have one picked out in this?
No. I thought this was very hard. I thought this was nearly the hardest race of the weekend, to be honest. And I toed and froed on a couple, but I couldn't find one. Could you?
Probably wait closer to the time. But if I had to choose one right now, I'd probably go with Honest Vic. Just he tends to run well in all them kind of races. Chasing definitely wasn't his cup of tea. He was still running half decently. Drop back then to hurdles at Cheltenham in the Pretemps. I don't know if he really, really likes that heavy ground, that kind of soft, gluey ground, but he still ran well. He was 5th in the Pretemps, so it's a decent enough run. And I do like Party Business, and whether he runs or not, I don't know, but those two carrying a lot of weight, but class will come to the fore here, I'd say. And we shall move on. So the Swinton Hurdle, Andrew loves this race. I'm not the biggest fan of this race because I don't really be a fan of many races at Haydock. A lot of entries, seeing as it's the kind of big race of the week, I'll just name them all off. We've Milkwood, West Cork, Sebastopol coming back from jumping fences, Cormier, Herbier, Anna Benina, she won well the last day, Luttrell Lad, Miss Heritage, Cubswin, the Sea, weird named horse, Ingolo, who used to be trained by Willie Mullins and is just a random horse, Cabot Cliffs, Severance, Playful Saint, Ingleby Hollow, Corton Bold, Bashful Boy, Timberman, Get Back, Peltwell, and Tunes, Castel Gandolfo, Paris Encore, who's looked progressive in his last 2 runs, and then Paul Nichols, Irish Hill, carrying basically no weight. Tom, who do you think is going to win?
I actually fancied one quite a bit in this. I think it's gone well under the radar. I see you can get 16 to 1 about it, and it's Cubs win. Neil King's horse. Neil King seems in very good form at the minute. She won last time at Haydock on the 16th of April. Went off at 28 to 1, but won well enough. She's only gone up £4 for that. Then if you go down for her back form, she's had 3 runs now in total at Haydock. She's won 2 of them. One was in that mare's race. Another was in a 31 grand to the winner handicap. And the time that she did bomb out was in this race in 2019, but I don't think there's any reason for that that I could see anyway. Just put it down to an off day. Yeah, look, I think she's got a good chance. Clearly likes Haydock, can clearly run off this sort of mark, trains in good form. And I thought 16 to 1 was a big enough price.
Yeah, I actually quite like Cubs win as well. Haydock's a strange track, in my opinion, and if you can show your form there, it tends to back up time after time. She did run badly in this race last year, but she was held up and made a mistake at the first, whereas the last time at Haydock, she made all and never look like getting beat. That's a decent enough race as well. The last time that Mayor's final, Lime Drop is a decent enough horse of Henry Daly's who have been progressing. And there's some other decent enough mares in there that Megan by Stuart, trained by Stuart Edmonds. It is a hard race, a lot of runners in it. A lot of them had long seasons, and this is probably, a second thought at the end of the season because it's obviously worth a bit and it's a grade 3 handicap. But I think Cubs one has a chance, and if I was to pick another one, maybe Sebastopol. Each way, he's either falls or comes first or gets pulled up. It's all or nothing. The 2 wins that he's had have been very, very good over fences, and the fall in between them, he probably would have won as well. So I find it interesting he's gone back over hurdles, so I give him a shout. Tom, I'm going to ask you, but I know you don't have an app or next best. Do you have any? Oh, you do, because you said at the start you might have something that.
No, that was one from today. The two I'd be interested in backing if Emily Dickinson runs and she's an each way price, gets stuck in. I really, really like her. I was just trying to think of the horse she reminded me of. She reminds me of that Ennis Diamond, Dave. Aiden's horse from a couple of years ago, who just completely kind of went under the radar.
She kept running well, didn't she?
Kept running well until they absolutely ran the crap out of her. They ran her 9 times in her 3-year-old career, the bull thing. But no, she was a very good mare, second in the Oaks. I wouldn't be surprised if Emily Dickinson goes and runs well here and then goes to the Oaks as well. I really like her. And then it's what's his name? Natural World, isn't it? In the have I got the right horse? Yeah, Natural World in the Derby trial. Keen on him each way as well. I think he'll run a good race.
Yeah, it's very hard for a nap, I suppose, this week. A race we didn't cover was the 7 furlong Philly Stakes Group 3 at Lingfield. And I think the favourite has a pretty decent chance in that. Highfield Princess, John Quinn's horse. She's a decent mare. She has decent back form and kind of lost her form a little bit, but she won at the Newcastle meeting on Good Friday, and she never looked like getting beat that day. So that run under her belt, maybe she can go in again. But I don't know, very hard for a nap. I will have a bet on Emily Dickinson if she runs at Lingfield, though.
The one I had, Dave, was a horse who won today in France at Longchamp. A horse called Epic Poet. It was doing the rounds in our WhatsApp group before the race, in fairness, so I tuned in to watch it, and this horse absolutely bolted up. He was last all the way around, which really doesn't suit in France because they don't get much of a gallop, and he's got an absolutely bolted up. He cost a lot of money as a yearling. He's by Lope de Vega. He'll go for the Prix de Jockey Club next. I see there was a bit of 12-1 out there for that. I'd be mad keen on him for that. Trained by Jean-Claude Rouget. Just looks a really, really nice horse. There's only conditions race he won today, but the style he did it very, very well. So, if you can get on for the Prix de Jockey Club, Epic Poet is his name.
Yeah, he looked well. I saw the replay, and I don't know, was it Christian Demuro was on him?
Yeah.
He was, when he went to the front, he just kept looking across to make sure that he was far enough ahead that he could just take it easy on him, and he was patting him down the neck the whole way. So they obviously think he's a decent horse. By owners that are really getting into the game with Sotsas and other horses along the way. So he's probably a decent one for the jockey club. They're dead right, Tom. Maybe he's an arc horse going forward.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
That's your dog.
That is the dog, yeah. He's trying to make as much noise as he can while I'm at home alone today, so I've no one to kick him outside if he's making noise.
Tom, we'll leave it there. We'll be back Sunday for Talking Points. I'm pretty sure we are anyway. If Andrew's not available, me and Tom will come on and we'll chat through the weekend's race, and we might give after those trials, we might give a little anti-post bet for the Derby and the Oaks. Maybe I know who we're going to pick for the Derby, but we might leave it till then anyway.
Yeah, very good. I'm looking forward to it. It seems to come around very quick this time of year. So like the Dante's on now in a week's time or something. It's like, wow, that's fast.
Yeah, all these trials. I mean, if you're into flat racing, it's a good time of year. All these trials come thick and fast, and then you have the Derby, and then a week and a half later, kind of 2 weeks, you have Royal Ascot. Then there's a wicked bad lull in the middle of the season. There's a lull in the middle of this jump season as well, but it's not half as bad as the lull in the flat season.
The only thing that keeps you going then is the place called Galway.
Yeah, or bloody Cartmel.
Yeah.
Right, Tom.
Best luck, Dave.
Well done on those bench presses yesterday as well, by the way.
First time ever bench pressing. I was nervous when you walk over and Dave just hands you the bar on its own, and there's a full gym of people, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to lift the bar. And you've got your 15-year-old stepson there with you who's ready to rip it out of you. Yeah, did it though. Did it?
You did.
I think we'll get up to 10 kgs now next time.
I have more faith in you than you're faith in yourself, Tom.
Very good.
Right, have a good one.
Right. Best of luck, guys.
Best of luck.